You really need to make sure they know your address. Hi, I'm Jim Hacking, immigration lawyer practicing law throughout the United States out of our offices in St. Louis, San Diego, and Washington, D.C. In today's video, we're talking about marriage-based green cards and specifically the addresses that you use. So we have people who have all kinds of unusual living situations. Sometimes the couples live apart. Sometimes they live apart at the beginning, but then they move in together. Sometimes somebody moves out for a little while the case is pending. It's absolutely essential that you always keep a current address on file with USCIS. And the main reason for that, they might come a knocking or a ringing. They might be coming to look for you or your spouse or both of you. And if you haven't updated your address and if you haven't given them accurate information about where you're sleeping at night, they are going to cause great trouble for your case. And so we understand that people have life circumstances and that people have somewhat complicated situations. But if you have told USCIS that the two of you live at 123 Maple Street and that's where you live, they're going to assume that's where you are at 5:30 in the morning when they come knocking or ringing on your front doorbell. And so if you have changed your address or if you haven't updated your address, that causes lots of problems. If the beneficiary, say, is living outside the state for some work-related reason, you're going to have to explain that. And the officers may very well show up one morning. They don't do it in all the cases, but the fraud unit does do it. And if you have any of the fraud indicators that cause USCIS to want to do a home inspection, you should be damn sure to make sure that you have not misled them or confused them as to the living situation. So the most important thing is to be honest and accurate. The other thing to think about is you really don't want to give them reasons to hit you over the head, reasons to say that your case is garbage, reasons for them to deny your case. And when you don't tell them the accurate address, that's exactly what you're doing. So you're really putting yourself and your case at risk if you haven't used the AR11, which is the way that you update your address. Now, sometimes people may be out of town for a weekend, or things might be, there might be a reason for the couple to be separated temporarily. That's a dicey situation, and you really want to be careful about that. So it's very important that you try to stay on the same page, that you try to stay at the same address, that you try to live together while the green card case is pending, because if things start to unravel, then they start to interview your landlord or interview your neighbors or call you in for an interview to figure out why you weren't there when you said you were. Sometimes they'll come knocking on the door and they'll ask you to call your spouse right then and say, hey, what's the deal? Where are you? Why are you not here in this bed with your spouse? And then, of course, all kinds of other crazy things happen. We've had people show up and there was some other man in the house. We've had them show up to a house where nobody lived at. All kinds of things can happen when you don't do an accurate name and address change to notify them of the change of the petitioner and the beneficiary's addresses. So we hope that if you're going through the immigration process, that you always use the right address, that you always update USCIS of that address, and that if you come across situations where you're going to have to live apart, you probably need to talk to a lawyer about how to document that and explain that. So if my beneficiary had a work assignment temporarily in South Carolina, I think the best thing to do is say, hey, look, I'm going to send a letter to USCIS. We're both going to sign it. It's going to say from March 1st until June 1st, beneficiary Joe Blow is going to be staying at 693 Wilson Street in Charleston, South Carolina, and to go from there. Really, you want to make sure that the record is clear so that there's no confusion. And if you're documenting what everybody's doing, you're going to be a whole lot better off. If you're going through the immigration process, or if you're thinking about starting to apply for a marriage-based green card and you would like our help, you can email us at info@hackingimmigrationlaw.com, or you can call us up at 314-961-8200. You can also email us info@hackingimmigrationlaw.com. I think I already said that. Fasting, this is my last Ramadan video. Also, you can find us on our YouTube channel, and you can subscribe to it and hit the alert button so that whenever I make a new video, you'll get alerted of it right away. And when we go live on our free Immigration Answers show, you'll be the first one to learn about that. Also, if you want, you can get on the text line for that. If you text the word SHOW, S-H-O-W, to 314-470-3300, that way you'll get a text when we're opening up the waiting room if you want to ask me a question for free. Finally, in our Facebook group, it's called Immigrant Home. We have thousands of immigrants going through the immigration process, and we'd love to have you join us there, or follow us on TikTok @Immigration Hacking. Thanks so much, and we'll see you next time.